Hello, my name is David Jones and I'm a board member of the Commonwealth Organisation for Social Work and the past president of the International Federation of Social Workers. And today we're wanting to talk about the comparative histories of the development of social work across the Commonwealth. An exciting new project which is looking at the development of social work in different parts of the Commonwealth. And I'm doing this in partnership with Philip Murphy, who's not talking today, but is the co-chair of the steering group for this project, and Sharon Rose Gittins from Barbados, Jill Manthorpe from London, Charles Mbugua from Kenya, and George Palatil from Edinburgh and from India. And this is the steering group for this exciting project. So first of all, what is the Commonwealth? Well, this is a voluntary organisation that was formed in 1949 and now includes 54 independent and equal countries. Many of them are very small island states, but it also includes advanced economies and developing countries. Most of the members of the Commonwealth share a colonial history, but in fact the network is open to all, and the most recent people to join, Rwanda and Mozambique, were never part of the British Empire, but have joined for geopolitical reasons, and the Commonwealth is open to others and has a close relationship with La Francophonie, which is an equivalent organisation of French-speaking countries around the world and countries with links to France. So the Commonwealth is home to 2.4 billion people. It has about a third of the countries of the world. And as I said, there are advanced economies like Britain and Canada and Australia, as well as developing countries and some very small island states. The Charter of the Commonwealth, which you can see there on the left, is the founding document, or the document of key principles which promote prosperity, democracy and peace. And the head of the Commonwealth is something which changes. The chair in office, the political head of the Commonwealth, is the person or the head of government of the country which hosted the most recent heads of government meeting. So there's a political head of the Commonwealth, and that changes every 2 years. But the head of the Commonwealth is Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And the Commonwealth Charter promotes prosperity, democracy and peace. And the objective is to amplify the voice of small states, but also there's a big commitment to protecting the environment. Now I'm going to talk about the Commonwealth Organisation for Social Work, but we are also linked with the Institute of Commonwealth Studies at the University of London. And that, as its name suggests, is a research institute that looks at the Commonwealth issues and has recently been reformed and is now developing along new lines. And we are very pleased to be in partnership with the Institute of Commonwealth Studies, but also with the University of London. So how did COSW emerge? Well, in 1992, Anthony Tan, a Malaysian social worker born in Singapore, had a Commonwealth Fellowship, and he came to visit the British Association of Social Workers and said to us that we should think about a social work voice in the Commonwealth, because many other professional bodies had a voice there, but social work was missing. And we were very uncertain about that, but we agreed to work with Anthony to hold a meeting at the World Conference in Colombo. And at that meeting, which included social workers from Africa and Asia, as well as Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the UK, it was agreed that we should explore setting up a Commonwealth Organisation for social work. And that's what we did with strong support from the steering group. And we engaged with the Commonwealth institutions, the Secretariat and the Secretary General. And we were accredited formally to the Commonwealth, and we attended the 1997 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Edinburgh. In 2000, we agreed a constitution which was signed in Montreal with signatures from all regions of the Commonwealth. And in 2005, we registered as a company limited by guarantee in London. And we've been active all through that time, and we'll say something about that. But in 2017, we were a key organisation setting up the Independent Forum of Commonwealth Organisations, a member of the steering group, about building networks between Commonwealth organisations. So this is our leadership now, chaired by Silvia Daisy Romanos in India. Our secretary is Monique Offrey in Canada. Godfred Boahan from the UK and Ghana is our treasurer, and I am the representative to the Commonwealth institutions in London. And you will see we have members of our board from Kenya, India, Malaysia, Canada, Barbados, Zambia, and Australia. And what sort of things do we do? Well, we are accredited to the Commonwealth, which alongside 80 other Commonwealth organisations, professional bodies, and civil society organisations. And we are working together increasingly closely with the Independent Forum of Commonwealth Organisations. There's a health grouping around promoting sustainable urban development, an HIV grouping, a grouping around ageing, and there's a new children's grouping that we have been instrumental in forming. And these groups lobby on behalf of those sectors and work together to promote a better understanding of the needs of people in those sectors and the development of those areas. We have held webinars over the recent years and hold a newsletter, which is available on our website. And we're involved in Commonwealth consultations. We contribute to the priorities and work plan of the Commonwealth, and we engage with heads of government meetings. And one of the privileges of being an accredited organisation is that we have access to the high commissioners, the ambassadors from Commonwealth countries. So this week I was meeting in London, planning for the next head of government meeting in June in Rwanda. But also we have access to foreign ministers and heads of government. It's one of the rare opportunities where we can, civil society can actually meet with heads of government. And we encourage pan-Commonwealth dialogue and networking between social workers. So we've been attending heads of government meetings since 1997. This is a photograph in Buckingham Palace of the opening of the 1997 event, which I attended. And you can see there the countries which have hosted heads of government meetings. And as I said, we are able to sit in to listen to the foreign ministers' discussions. This is the setting in London in 1997, the most recent event. We will be present in Kigali as well. We always use our local members to represent us. Well, social work across the Commonwealth has many bilateral connections and influences. And you can see there, through government, through universities and individuals, there are diverse networks. They're not only north-south, but there are many, many south-south networks and south-north dialogues and influences. There's a rich history in the Commonwealth of dialogues. And of course, these countries have dialogues with those who are not in the Commonwealth as well, but because of the use of English and the common histories, there are many similarities and many common areas of interest. But of course, the current discourses about decolonialisation and promoting Indigenous perspectives are really significant for the Commonwealth. And there's a difficult history of colonialisation, which the Commonwealth organisations are coming to terms with. And COSW has a strong statement on our website about that history. So we need an honest, systematic history of the good and bad influences on the development of social work across the Commonwealth. So we've held some webinars and we're developing this project to do that research. In 2021, the Social Work History Network, which I am also chair of, held a webinar and we had contributions from Singapore, Kenya and the West Indies. and also about the IFSW archive and histories. And then a year later, in March 2022, we had a 2-day webinar across all these time zones, and we included contributions from New Zealand, Australia, Malaysia, India, Kenya, Zimbabwe, Zambia, South Africa, the UK, Jamaica, Barbados, Canada. And we also had a fascinating presentation about a Pan-African network of social work educators, which existed through the 1970s and early 80s, but then disappeared, but was engaged with all of these sorts of issues in Africa. And at that webinar, we had some very strong statements of support from the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, from the Director General of the Commonwealth Foundation that supports civil society, and from Wendy Thompson, the Vice Chancellor of the University of London, and herself a social worker. Now, most of those presentations will be printed in the bulletin of the Social Work History Network in October 2022, and you can see the link there on the screen, or you can search for Social Work History Network and go to our website. But there are videos of all of these webinars available, and the links are on the COSW website. So we can look to the future, and what will be the future research project? Well, there's a growing interest in social work history globally and across the Commonwealth. That we have established a baseline for further research through these webinars. But there are many interesting themes to explore, including the position of women within social work. Key people across the decades, women have been absolutely central in developing our understanding of social work. But there's also been the difficult relationship between social work and colonial governments. And there's been the interesting relationship between social work and freedom movements, and all sorts of areas to explore about the link between professional social work, if I can describe it like that, and Indigenous self-help arrangements and community supports, particularly in freedom movements in a number of former colonial countries. Social work and social development was a key part of the freedom movements, which led to independence and then grew into the new structures for social work. And there are many areas, therefore, to explore. So we are developing a proposal for a research bid led by the Institute of Commonwealth Studies and the Commonwealth Organisation for Social Work. At the moment, we have good links on our steering group from the University of Edinburgh and King's College London, and we have practitioner involvement, as you see, from Barbados and Kenya, but also all those links of people who presented in our webinars. So we expect to develop partnerships with other associations and with other universities, and would be interested to hear from people who would like to be a part of that partnership as associates. So watch this space is the message. Well, that has been the overview of the development of this project, and I've been very pleased to be involved with it. And you're very welcome to contact me by email. I'm also available on Twitter, or you can connect me through the Social Work History Network or the Commonwealth Organisation for Social Work. The COSW email address is very easy, www.cosw.info, I-N-F-O, very short, and you will go to our website. Well, thank you for listening, and thank you for your interest. And do please contact us if you have ideas about the history of social work across the Commonwealth. And we look forward to giving further reports over the coming months and indeed probably years. So thank you for listening, and I hope you are enjoying this People's Summit, which is so important at this stage of the history of the world. Thank you and goodbye.